come from the military. I was in the Marine Corps. The methodology and the PSYOP and the way that we move troops around the world has not changed very much. Okay, it hasn't. When you move masses of troops, now what has changed is that you don't have to move masses of troops with the technology that we have, that we can do things very nefariously, very deliberately to attack our adversaries well in advance. And this, like for instance, the sanctioning and the cyber attacks and all that stuff, the precursor to a world war. You don't necessarily need to move troops. That's very different from when I was in, because we didn't even have internet. I was on ARPANET when I was in the military. It wasn't even available to the general public. So technology's changed. But one thing that hasn't changed is when you run exercises, all right, and you run all of your big ships, you run your troops, you deploy troops by the hundreds of thousands. The only way that you can do that without sounding the alarm of your adversaries, because you're going to be detected. When you run all of your major battle fleets, in the Mediterranean Sea, they're all tracked by satellites, right? I mean, they know. Russia knows when we're going to move a couple hundred thousand troops, and he's been complaining about it for the past 2 decades. NATO's incursion up against his border, but they always use the excuse that it's just an exercise, right? Same thing is being done to the American people. Okay, right now you're being lied to as if you're Vladimir Putin, because you have intel right now that troops are running around the streets of Philly. And you're being told, don't worry about it. It's just an exercise. God bless our troops. You got Steve Scalise. He'll be waving his flag soon, and Elise Stefanik, she'll be doing it. The Republicans, they're going to be like, God bless our troops. The Republicans are cheering on our troops because they're so freaking stupefied to not even recognize that those troops are literally a bunch of dumbed down 18-year-old Xboxers. They'll do anything, okay, that they're told to do, because they're young, dumb, and full of stupid. And their command has been purged. There are no conservatives at the general level. They were all purged by Barack Obama's CIA regime. Hillary Clinton. Imagine Hillary Clinton's regime, this entire regime that assassinated John F. Kennedy, has been behind the scenes purging the whole system so that they've got their people in place. You know why? Because remember the technology I told you that exists to where they can profile people and know exactly who they are, if they're right-leaning. Well, do you think that Barack Obama and his technocrats have done all that profiling among all the generals? You think they have? They have. But Elise Stefanik doesn't know how to turn on her iPad, okay? Barely. And Lindsey Graham is not a technocrat, okay? He's still selling planes for John McCain, okay? He's still all about geopolitical crap while he's getting his butt kicked by the technocrats. They've purged the entire military. The entire command structure is all Barack Obama leftist CIA plants, okay? Joe Biden is the commander-in-chief. You know where that goes. I mean, Joe Biden, Fetterman, interchangeable, same thing.
Sure.
Okay? When the troops show up on the streets, this is what you need to tell them, all right? As long as those troops are under the command of these leftists, okay, that were put in place, a lot of them are sexual deviants. They have plenty of luggage that Barack Obama can use, because part of that profiling is to also establish that these guys are great. They've got great collateral. They've been banging young girls and little boys, okay? They've got plenty at the command level of collateral material that you will go along or you're going to be gone and you're going to be identified as a pedophile. All right? Because you are. All the pedophiles stack the ranks of the entire military. I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't make me go pop the trunk and show you the Pentagon had 5,000 Pentagon officials frequenting child porn websites. 5,000. Where'd that go? I went in Barack Obama's file drawer. Okay, those are all the people that he picked from to pull up the ranks at the general grade. They're all in charge of putting troops out. Now we had Operation Jade Helm as well that practiced performing social media influence operations and operating right under your noses, moving troops, moving ammunition, moving rail cars, and then causing you, because they got the Republicans out there especially, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to move those troops into place, and they're going to tell you on social media, as they are, I'm watching them do it, like just diddling everybody online, saying, oh, it's just, God bless our troops, God bless our troops, God bless our troops. When they pull the trigger on you, and they will, okay? They're going to have you profiled. They're going to have on their screen all the red dots. You will be identified. They're literally getting ready to kill tens of millions of Americans. If you have a gun and a Bible, okay, you are definitely targeted for extermination by these people. They're going to round them up. Make no mistake about it. They're already setting up camps. Did you know that?
I know.
Massive, capable of holding hundreds of thousands of human beings. And the illegals, they're not going to be in those camps. The only camp that they're going to be in is working for Amazon, which you're going to hear about momentarily. But when you see troops in the streets, this is not normal. This is what you tell those troops. And you tell your family members that, and Milley is running that command. That woke-tard, and I'm going to say this right up front, okay? And this is not advocating for violence at all. This is advocating for America. Milley has 2.5 million troops. Half of them are on our side. Do that math, right?
You still think so?
Okay. This is what I'll say. They will be on our side when they realize that we have 100 million with 400 million guns. Make no mistake about it. Take a look at Ukraine. If our troops want to know what they have in store for them, take a look at what Zelensky's doing with a couple 100,000 troops. He's literally throwing them into the meat grinder right now. You are expendable. You conscripts right now that are in, you Xboxers that are just going to go follow orders, you're the front face of this thing. While Barack Obama and the suits and ties are behind the scenes, they're going to send you into a meat grinder. You're going to be slaughtered in the streets. You will be. You'll be slaughtered. And they don't care. You're expendable. They only have 1 million, 1.25 million, 1.5 million maximum, all right, that will, remain loyal to them. Only about 1 million, 1.5 million. We have 100 million with 400 million guns. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get to as many of those 100 million with the guns. And you do not, God bless the troops, okay, when they come rolling through our city, especially when an illegitimate, fraudulent president is in place that is a puppet of a regime that assassinated John F. Kennedy. I'm going to tell you that right now. We need to get the word out to these troops. You will be freaking pummeled with America, all right? You will be pummeled. We have so many guns and ammunition that has done what? Staved off countries from invading us. And that's a beautiful American thing. You think that you can have more influence and power over us just because you're going to see these foreign nations like China and Russia and all those. If they come in, it's very obvious they would take a shellacking, right? So they think that they can Trojan horse their little agenda by putting, their overthrow of the United States of America, a military overthrow, dressed up in an American flag, and get everybody to let their guard down. Do not let your guard down. When a commander-in-chief was fraudulently installed, and he's going to start ordering false flag attacks and justification to use those troops that are being pre-positioned right now, when those troops get to your streets, you let them know. You turn, and you will be freaking obliterated. You let them know that right now. I want the blacks to join me on this one. I want Antifa to join me on this one. I want all of you crazies out there right now. All you crazy militia people, time to freaking gun up.
Banks are supposed to be the safest placeholders for cash in the world, but in 2022 that changed. The Federal Reserve pulled out $2.5 trillion of liquidity out of the banks, and the Fed also changed the requirements so banks don't need to keep any funds on hand. This means banks are starved for liquidity and have now become very dangerous places to hold your assets. Get out of the system with the world's safest and most private assets, silver and gold. Call Kirk Elliott, PhD at 720-605-3900.
Be sure to tell him Pete Santilli sent you.